Welcome to another video. Today's video I'm going to continue working on the Challenger, getting all the wiring straightened out. Go ahead and stay tuned.
Music bed.
Okay, so last video I left off, I finished the electric power steering here, installing all the electrical. So this is wired, ground, everything in here. I got the return line, but I'm waiting on a pressure line for the rack, which is off a Fox body. That's what the QA1 provides you. So I can connect this, which I'll see if I get to it, but I need the other line so I can actually get this part and then the other factory line, and then I'm gonna go to a place here in town that makes all kinds of lines and see if they can attach both somehow. So what I'm gonna work on now is I got the wire ran here to the starter instead of using just like the trigger, and so I'm gonna wire it underneath the dash. I also went ahead and made this little brackets here out of the shield from the cold air intake. So I went ahead and cut that bracket here on the back since it had a band, and then attached it to the firewall. And so that has my power distribution strip there. On top, the power coming from that brake terminal. And then I have the small fuse box there. And so I'm gonna, this is the starter wire. I believe I'm gonna do a relay on there, and so that way the key just sends power to the relay and cranks it. Either way, I mean, okay, so my big issue is that factory switch seems kind of tight, and so I don't want it to fail and then I don't have like a way to cranking it. If I put a relay, I can just unplug that, kind of, that's going to be the trigger wire, and just kind of touch it to the power down here and start it, or put a little switch. They sell the push button, something like that. So that's kind of why I'm thinking of doing that. And then I'm going to wire everything else. So I had like the Holley computer with the key, and I'm not going to use that fuse box. So I'm going to wire it to that fuse block here, and then I have the switches. So I also cut this little bracket and attach it here. This is where these switches are gonna go, and then there's a little bit of room here for any other switches, nitrous, whatever I need. And that's gonna be for now. Eventually, like I said, I might switch all this, but that's what I'm gonna be wiring now. So just a lot of wiring, splicing wires, soldering, getting the relay pigtails connected and all that. So let's get to it. So far, not a lot of progress, but I got the starter relay pretty much all wired. So it's got the power and ground, and I am just gonna hook up the wire that actually goes to the starter here, and then I need to hook up the other one, which is that blue one, to the ignition switch, to the wire coming out of the switch. So I just have to find out which one it is that comes out, and so that's going to be the trigger. And then actually the blue one. The other relay is pretty much going to power the Terminator X here, instead of just key on the that's going to go to the switch here, and that's just going to be, turn on the switch. That's going to power the relay, which sends power directly to this. I could have done it just directly from the switch, but I just decided to go with the relay. You don't have to do that. That's just what I chose. So got those hooked up pretty much. And then I'm gonna wire at least 2 more relays there, and they're gonna be for the fans. And I believe, let's see, this is inputs. So here on the Terminator X wiring, you get a, if I can find it, I think it's this one, but one of these is output. So I know this one said inputs. Oh no, inputs, outputs. So it's this plug here, and this is gonna have 2 outputs that I believe I can use for the fans. And so I'm gonna do 2 separate relays for the fans, so that way I can do the big fan in one circuit, and then the 2 small ones, because I have 3 total, on another circuit. And so I just want to make sure that I don't overload the circuit with the fans. I want to make sure they have enough power. So that's going to be the 2, and the computer's going to control those. And that's just because I might have them turn on at different times. Now, if I can put them all together and just have them turn on at one time. Still use 2 relays, but just use 1 output. So I'll just kind of decide. I might just do the 2 since I'm doing the wiring, run the 2 wires off front of the car, and then finish that up. So and same thing with those 2 relays, is going to go to power right there from the battery. 2 of them are going to be key on, and so that's going to be also you know, kind of like, I can do the switches, or I can actually do the key on, because those aren't gonna technically be on as, you know, you don't need them to be on as it's cranking or anything like that. So I can do it off of the ignition switch for those to be turned on. I might do that just that way, you know. These light up, so if I do have it on, it's light up. I should always make sure they're off, but just in case, I don't want the fans turning on. Although it doesn't really matter, I guess, other than the light being on. If this stays on, the fans won't turn on because the computer's not going to command them on if the vehicle's off. So we'll see there. Anyways, I'm just going to keep working on here. It's just a lot of connecting and all that stuff. So it takes a lot of time. Okay, so a little update here on the car. So finish up the relay wiring. I did hook up the neutral safety switch through the shifter. I did read on the rule book that you have to have a neutral safety switch at the drag strip. I don't know if that's true or if they enforce it, but just to make sure, I do have the wiring from the Terminator X 470W controller for that, so I just spliced that in. Tried it, it does work. And then I finally mounted the gas pedal. See that there? I had to drill a couple holes, but so far, I mean, that looks pretty good as far as, you know, this is the gas and it does go all the way down. Got my brakes here. So I know I mentioned on my previous videos on my brake pedal, and I think it is too high because I have an adjustment. So there's different length of little rods. So I can have, this is the highest. When I first did it, I did the lowest. And I was like, no, that's way too low. And then, or I think actually it was the medium. That's where it came, and I was like, man, that's too low, so I raised it, but now I think that's a little high. So I could go back to the medium. That would put the pedal about an inch lower, which would line up with the gas pedal a lot better. But I'm not gonna do that right now because I would have to remove the master cylinder, kind of move it aside, and then take all the bolts off for the booster, pull that out, and then change the rod. Like I said before, you know, I'm gonna do this new firewall here eventually, so I could drive it like this, no big deal. But once I do the firewall and I do have to remove all those things, then I will go with a little bit lower rod. So as far as this part, so that's all set. I got actually the electric power steering hooked up to this switch also because I had the wire in there, so I can just turn that on when I want it. This is for the Terminator. And then I do have an extra one, which, you know, if I do need for any kind of accessory or anything like that. I do still need to connect the other relay to the ignition switch here. So, oh man. And I believe, yeah, so this is just a little locked out. I might spray some WD-40 on the column here because you have to pull this down to turn the key off. It's kind of like a little safety. Everything else, I mean, it looks okay. I just know I kind of seen some videos of the other model of cars. You have to pretty much remove the whole column here to get to this switch because there's not like covers like the new cars. So I'm just gonna try to spray some WD-40 through the cracks here for now, just to see if I can get this just a little bit looser. But really the main thing is I am gonna supply power to the original fuse box for now, like I did when I was trying it. And really the only thing that I need from that is gonna be for like the lights, which some of them work. Headlights didn't work from the switch, and so I may just run like a separate wire from that new fuse box to the dimmer switch, because then if I put power there, I knew they worked up front. So I may just do that for now so I can have lights when we go to the drag strip. And then turn signals, you know, running like parking lights actually were working with the original. The wipers, which, I mean, this window is completely smashed. I don't think there's a rule about your window being crappy, so hopefully, because this is on the inside of the window, so it's not like I can clean most of this crap off. I'll clean it as much as I can, but you know, whatever. And so anyways, I'm gonna hook up that other relay to the ignition switch so I can actually crank the car with the switch. And then I need to start wiring those relays for the fans. I haven't done that because it just things take time. So as of now, really I need the fans to really go for a drive. If it's a short drive, it should be okay, but I do want to get those done regardless. So I'm gonna start wiring those, and that way I can get that done. And I think that's gonna be the same thing with the well, I don't know. Maybe I'll actually wire the fans with the key for now. I have to think about that. Maybe I'll just use this third switch that I don't have anything. Just that way I know when I need to run the car, it's going to be both of these. If I want the power steering once it's running, do the third one. And then once it's off, just turn everything off. Again, the fans won't be on unless the computer turns them on anyway. So I think that's what it's going to look like for now. So anyways, but from here, this angle, that little panel doesn't look too bad. You know, long run, no, that's not going to stay there probably. But, you know, there's still a lot that this car is going to go through over the years. And for now, I just want to get it running. I can drive it, you know. And then later on, I'll do a little bit more, like, you know, I'll do the body work, maybe make it look nicer in here and all that. So let me get to that other wiring, and then we'll check up here in a moment.